Welcome to the Beginner's Gym Guide and the start of your journey. I am Dylan and I am the creator of Green Develop, an upcoming channel, and this is the gym guide. This gym guide is basically going over a lot of important beginner's knowledge for beginners to go through so that you get in the right track. Because if you're a beginner and you start gym, it can go quite badly if you go in the wrong things, you make bad mistakes. And you essentially waste in the first bit of your training when it's very essential. The first year of training means a lot, especially as a natural. And so I started training in 2021 as a grade 11. I was 17. And for the first year of training, I made a lot of mistakes. And I basically wasted a lot of time because that time could have been used a lot better. In 2022, I started training more seriously and I got better routines and I made a lot more progress, a lot of progress. I started the year off at 98 kgs and ended at about 84 and gained, that was just fat because I gained a significant amount of strength and muscle and my physique got a lot better last year. And so the point of this video is to help you out in your beginning stuff. This video will go over a few main things such as 1, basic understanding of the main factors for growth and growing muscle. Number 2, progressive overload. 3rd, what is a cut and what is a bulk, as well as maintenance. Number 4, different splits and the importance of routine and tracking. The 5th one is vital information and avoiding mistakes or scams. And this means a lot because you often make a lot of mistakes in the beginning time. You as someone who's starting gym might have a lot of possible goals. You could be going for muscle, like bodybuilding, looks, aesthetics, cardio to be a general fitter, healthier person. Go for enjoyment because it's a nice time to spend nice place to get stress off after work or whatnot. And even just health in itself so that you lose a little bit of weight. You're not really going for anything. There's a lot of different reasons why you can be going to gym. First off, should you be working at a local gym or work at home to build muscle and exercise? And the main difference is the local gym, obviously you're paying money. And at home, unless you're going to work on the floor with just body weight, you still have to get money for equipment and such. Local gym and home, there is benefits for both, such as local gym, it's normally easier to build a routine, there's cheaper equipment, and you often other people there. It could be a nice way to get some social life in, to have a good time, as well as there's personal trainers and you can get, for example, in Hoffman gyms, you can get energy drinks and all this place. It's kind of like a nice place to build a habit. At home, it means you can do it almost any time. And so the main problem with home gym is you need to make sure you have a good routine because you might not feel motivated. And one way, when you're working at a gym, it's easy to go to a gym and just work out because it's a specific place for a specific thing. Whereas when you're at home, you might watch TV or feel like not gymming. And when you're at home, there's many ways. Calisthenics is very, very popular for people who work out at home. Calisthenics is using your body to provide resistance to train muscle, whereas weight training is using weights as the resistance. I do a little bit of both. And so for calisthenics, I highly recommend getting gym rings, which you can see here. They're relatively cheap. They're cheap and they last a long time, and you can do a lot of exercises on them. For the price you're getting to buy a pair of dumbbells, just a pair of dumbbells is probably more expensive than to get gym rings. You can hang them up in most places and they're very versatile. That's very good for at home. But obviously, the more you go into gym, it might be better to work at home spare time in case you're going to get to gym. You might find it important to buy machines, or not machines, but to buy better weights or bench and then build a nice home setup. And home gym can be very fun because you just get privacy. When you're training, your body essentially has a certain amount of maintenance. Maintenance, if you say calories, a certain amount of energy it needs to keep your body at the state you are now. And so then that's maintenance. To not lose weight, to not gain that much weight, to stay how you are. That's a maintenance. Then a cut is to go underneath the maintenance, how much you need just to stay as you are. It's a calorie deficit. Deficit, it's less than. So the less you eat underneath your maintenance, the more weight you'll lose. However, you also gain losing a bit more muscle if you go too deep in. Because if you're eating a lot under your maintenance, you're going to lose weight quickly, but you're also going to lose a bit more muscle quickly. And for bulking, it's the opposite. It's a surplus of calories or energy or food in. And so that's eating a bit above your maintenance. Maintenance is you're eating above your maintenance so that you can get bigger or gain more muscle. There's different reasons for both is obviously cutting is for general aesthetics and health. And then gaining muscle, when you're bulking, it's much easier, a lot easier to gain muscle when you're bulking. And protein, now we're talking about calories. Everyone always wonders about protein, the common thing, how much protein should I be eating? And generally, an easy way to figure out for beginners, if you go look at many sources, you'll find similar thing to this. It's about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's to gain significant amount of muscle, or to gain good muscle. Because you can only gain so much muscle per day, because growth takes time and a lot of effort. It's about 1 gram per pound per body weight, and the reason why I go per pound, not per kg, even though I don't use the system for pounds, is that it's just an easier way to measure it, because it's easy. Otherwise, you might have to go this per kg. It's just 1 pound per 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And so when you talk about protein, for example, if I have a 100 gram steak, don't forget, for example, there's not 100 grams of protein in that steak, there's like 27 or whatnot around that area. And there's protein and other things in meat. Meat itself isn't pure protein, and that's what you mean by that. And for beginner, you don't need to be tracking too much, but just make sure you're eating healthy and you are eating protein. Newbie gains, very important for beginners. Newbie gains is when you gain a lot more muscle in the beginning of your working out or whatever. The reason for this is, let's say you never worked out, and so you're here, your body's used to this. Now suddenly, you're working out always. Your body is always pushing itself and going to things you never did before. You gain a significant amount of muscle for this. The more scientific area for this, newbie gains, is a hyper response in the muscles to a new difficulty, such as lifting weights. And it's an increase in muscle protein synthesis, which is very simply the way you gain new muscles, and which would be lifting the weights. And so you're paying rapid growth and more muscle because there's a bigger difficulty. If this is your benchmark, you never work out, now suddenly working out 3 times a week, or 4 times a week, whatever, 4 or 5, that's a big increase. Compared to 0 to now 4 times a week, you're gaining a lot of muscle and you're a beginner. That's why newbie gains often gain a lot of muscle. And so, your body works with a use it or lose it principle. That's why if you don't gym or whatever, you don't exercise, you don't walk, you lose the muscle rapidly. Your body doesn't have time to waste. If you're not using this, it's going to get rid of it, and you will gain fat. So that's why, for example, if you don't train a specific thing for a long time, it starts to wither away. Your body won't waste it. Like I said, maintenance calories. Your body will get rid of things you don't use. Now, as a beginner, make sure your sleep is very big. That's probably one of the biggest factors for muscle growth. Everyone likes to focus on big things like this and this and this. If you're not getting enough sleep, 8 hours of good sleep, or at least 7 hours of sleep, you're not going to gain any significant muscle because your body can't repair. You don't gain muscle from lifting the weight. You gain muscle from lifting the weight and recovering from lifting the weight and growing new muscle. So without the recovery part, you can lift as much as you want, do as perfect as you want. You're not going to gain muscle without good sleep. As a beginner, let's say you started gym now, you're getting muscle tightnesses and sorenesses. As a beginner, you need to know there's a difference between muscle tightnesses and DOMs. And then there's also another one where your muscles can lock up, which is a bit more rare. It happens mostly for beginners and sometimes I'll tell you a story. Muscle tightness is when you work out and the next day you're feeling a bit tight in your bicep or your chest or your legs. That's the most significant one people normally feel, is your legs are very sore. And DOMS, standing for delayed onset muscle soreness, is a version of muscle tightness. Now there is another one where your muscles, it's way too much strain and your body gets such DOMS, your body stiffens up. This happened to me. I remember I couldn't even do push-ups when I was like 13, 14. I did like 10 push-ups and I pushed myself to so beyond failure. For 2 days, my arms are kind of like this. I try to move up, nothing. Can be quite dangerous. If that happens, just take time to slowly move it. But it only really happens sometimes. It's only happened to me about once. But that's just something rare that can happen. Don't freak out too much, but it might not even happen to you ever. Natural growth as a natural, because you often see a whole bunch of people on supplements or add-ons like testosterone. Natural growth takes years, and it's important to know that so you don't rush it and you can work with expectations. The natural body can grow muscle and lose fat very well over time. Anything instant doesn't work that well. You need time. It takes patience, so you better enjoy the journey and you start to enjoy it, because in the beginning, gym is very difficult for a lot of people, mainly because you're working so hard and you're seeing nothing. And then about 3 months, let's say you've got some good newbie gains and you're feeling better. The longer you work out for, you're kind of getting more return, because now I'm working out every day and let's say I'm enjoying my physique and I'm feeling better. Now every day I have this body and I'm working out, getting a bit better, I'm enjoying the working out. In the beginning, you might have a body you hate, or you have no differences, and you're working out, you're pushing hard, and there's no benefits. The further you go at it, the better it gets, essentially. You need to watch out for what you consume online. You have to understand that people on things like Instagram and such are very much says you'll do perfect lighting, you look a lot better. You can look very different in perfect lighting and not good lighting. You'll have pumps, they're often taking pictures, pumps. A pump is when you work out your muscle and the blood, for example, my biceps. If I'm working on my biceps doing hammer curls, the blood flows there so my body can get it moving better. That's a pump. It feels like it kind of swells up a little bit, it's pumping. And so they're often pumped, so they're looking bigger and better and they're taking the best lighting, and that's what they're posting mostly. You'll find a few celebrities and such and gym influencers and such who don't do that, but mostly they always are. But then understand people want views. And so often you'll see the most crazy thing, especially as a beginner, you're more susceptible to this because you don't know that much. You'll see the most crazy content out there. Do this, you're doing this wrong. This is the wrong way to do this. Do it like this. And you'll see that's all they're ever doing is do this and do that, or some crazy thing. You have to understand people want views. They'll catch your attention by doing something crazy or extravagant or very difficult. And so then they gain you a lot of views. As a beginner, you mustn't really try these things out. You must take it slow and steady, because these aren't probably not even their normal workout routines, the crazy things they're doing. It's just to get views and money and influence. And you'll find a few opposite of this celebrities or content creators, such as Noah Dizelle, I think he's South African like me. He's very big in the US. I'm sure you've heard of him if you're in the gym area. And he has a lot of more wholesome content, and he talks about better ways for beginners. He focuses a lot on beginners, and he's open about the steroid use. And you have to understand a lot of people are on steroids more than you would know. And the golden rule of the internet is people want you to buy their products, so they're prone to lying and exaggeration. People often lie about all sorts of things, so it sounds really good. You'll find so much on the internet. Be careful what you're looking at. Remember, people want views. Factors that affect you as a beginner gymmer is mostly weight, height, sex, and your build. For weight, if you're severely underweight, you may find it difficult to gain muscle because you're a hard gainer. And height as well makes influence, especially on calisthenics. If you try and do things like push-ups, planking, and like things the more impressive skills like long levers and all these, not long levers, but all these different, especially ab things, we have a leverage. Basic science, more leverage, the harder something is. Height has an influence on these things. The taller you are, it's harder to gain muscle generally. Well, not harder, but it takes more time. For example, let's say this is your bicep and this is my bicep. The 1 kg muscle in you is only in this area. So it'll obviously look a lot better because it's more here. Now, if I'm here and we both gain 1 kg muscle, this 1 kg is going either this far or this far. It's a bit more stretched out, you would say, not stretched out, but you have to understand. That's why it's often harder for taller people, like, I don't know, 6'2" above, even 6 foot above, to gain muscle. And you'll always see the jokes about your 5'6" friend gaining muscle as soon as he has 1 gram of protein. And sex, male and females build muscles at different rates. For a female, it takes a lot longer to build a muscle than a male does, because males have more testosterone, which helps build muscle. And your build, there's different builds you have. For example, if you're very light and lean and with a bit of smaller legs naturally and a lankier body, you may take a long time to build muscle because your body's better at other things. If you're one of those really chubby guys who struggles to lose weight, which is I am, and you gain muscle quickly, but to lose is very difficult, to lose fat. And so there is different body types and different ways. Research it, like mesomorphs. Just Google mesomorph on YouTube and body types, and you'll understand a little bit more about it. Routine is very, very important for beginners. And the reason why this is so important is that it helps track your gains. With progressive overload is when you slowly add on more weights. If I have enough muscle to push off 20 kgs, let's say, off my body, and I do this many times, I'm going to gain the amount of muscle so I can accurately push that 20 kgs. Now move to 22 kgs. It's more difficult. Now I'm gaining more muscle because you're slowly progressing. You want to track this so you can slowly track your progression. Don't go too easy, don't go too hard. You want to go relatively close to failure. It's very important to go close to failure.
Failure has been achieved, thank God. Now, the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure.
The reason for this is your body builds muscle within like a few reps of failure. You don't have to go to failure every time, but you must feel the strain. When let's say you're lifting something, eventually, let's say you're on you lifting it for a while, and then you feel the strain, you're going close to failure, it's good for building muscle. As long as you're going close to failure, you're normally on the right track. And so there's different splits. A split is what you're doing on each days of your working out, you can do it. The first split is very common, push-pull legs. Push is, for example, bench pressing is your chest and your triceps. They work together, you're pushing the weight. And different examples with triceps and dips. Then you have pull, which is your back and biceps, like a pull-up, which is using your back, and a chin-up, a lot of bicep. That's a pull. Leg is obviously your legs. So that's push-pull legs. Very common, very easy for beginners, and it's one that people love to stick to. Another famous split is the Arnold split. Chest, back, shoulders, arms, and legs. That's 3 different days. You do that 2 times a week. There is a few issues with Arnold splits where people don't get that much rest, because then you only have 1 day of rest, and you might say it's not enough rest for your body. Because as a beginner, remember, you need rest before you can build a muscle. Otherwise, you're not going to build it. And then you get 5-day split, which is very good for a normal 7-day week cycle. Chest, back, arms, shoulders, legs, and then you rest for 2 days. For example, you chest Monday, back Tuesday, arms Wednesday, shoulders Thursday, legs on Friday, and you rest Saturday, Sunday. It's very good as well. Now, when you're gymming and tracking, you don't know what a set and a rep is, for example. I'm sure a lot of you do. If you do not, a rep is how many times I'm doing the exercise. Now, let's say I'm doing push-ups. I do 5 push-ups. That's 5 reps. Now I stop. I failed. My arms can't go anymore. I have a quick breather and I do 5 more push-ups. Now what I've done is, first I did 5 reps, and then after my first set. Then I rested and I onto my second set and did another 5 reps. The set is just when you're exercising, then you stop, you do it again. That's a set. You have a certain amount of sets and reps. So you normally have, for general bodybuilding, you say hypertrophy, is the nice range is 8 to 12 reps. You do it 8 to 12 times. You want to feel very difficult towards, you want to feel close to failure towards the 12th or even the 8th. And that's good for building muscle in the bodybuilding sort. For lifting weight, for strength, you might do 3 and up. For example, there's a heavy weight. You can only do it 3 times or up to 6 times even, specifically focusing on strength. And so it's basically, you can kind of go 6 to 30, but maybe don't go past 12 too often. But you can gain muscle past 12, but it's not really for hypertrophy in a bodybuilding sense. So you will still gain muscle, but it's more endurance muscle, not strength muscle. And so going to failure is very important. Let's say I'm lifting this weight on the bar and I'm at 8 and I'm tired, and I get to 12 and I'm almost failing. That's good. You're going close to failure. You can go to failure where you can't lift it anymore, and then you fail and you hold it there and someone helps you get it off you. That's going to failure. Very important for muscle growth. And so now, fitness scams, as I was saying, is people will always go online, try to sell you their routine, tell you a whole bunch of information you've never heard before. Do this and this and this. No one else but me knows how to do the proper way to gain muscle. My clients have lost this like 30 kgs in 1 month. It's sort of silly things like that. And it often attracts beginners like you because you have less knowledge and less experience. They really prey on you because they want money and views. And so they'll prey on you, and because you're desperate and you have the hole where you want to build your body better, you want to gain weight, lose fat, and you want to get better, but then they're preying on your lack of knowledge, essentially. Be careful for what it is. The golden rule, as I said before, is if it looks too good to be true, it is probably too good to be true. For example, massive and easy weight loss or weight gain, saying gain 10 kgs of muscle in a month, easy 30-minute workouts. It sounds so good. I wish that could happen. And then it probably won't happen. It sounds too good to be true. It is probably not true. Or lose a whole bunch of fat very quickly, very easily. Don't do other diets, do my one. And then it's probably not true. It's more of a scam. It's very common. Fitness scams are all over. Be careful. Eating too much over your body's maintenance calories. Everyone loves the idea of a big dirty bulk. So you're bulking, as I said, is eating above. If you want to gain muscle, you're going to eat a lot. Eat more, gain more is the classic thing we think about, which isn't true. Because if you're eating way too much above your maintenance, you can only gain so much amount of muscle a day, especially as a natural. On steroids, you can gain a bit more and such. Like you can gain a bit more muscle a day because you'll have much higher test. And so you can only gain so much muscle per day. Let's say I'm gaining 1 gram of muscle a day. and I'm eating 4,000 calories in my maintenance, or calories, this is 2,000, and I'm only gaining 1 gram a day maximum, no matter what I'm doing. Where is the rest of that energy going? It's going to be added to weight. You can only gain a small amount of muscle a day because growth takes a lot of time. It takes time over a while. You're working out constantly, it's a routine, and then you'll see change over time. You can only gain so much muscle a day, and eating a big dirty bulk can also be bad for your health, because you're eating bad food to get a lot of calories to gain some muscle, but it's clogging up your insides, your arteries, gaining a lot of fat. Your diet is really bad. Make sure you're eating healthily and you're eating well, because it's important to get the essential nutrients. Otherwise, you won't do very well. You'll feel bad. Your mental health will go down. Now, a big thing we beginners do is not having a rest day. Rest day, I want to gain muscle. No ways I'm going to have a rest day. And you keep working. You start to feel fatigued. You'll be lifting less weight over time because your body is just so fatigued. It doesn't have time to rest. As I said, you gain the muscle from resting after working out or providing that difficulty. So you're not resting, you're not going to gain proper muscle, because you can only work out as much as you can recover. And so take your time, make sure to have a rest once or twice a week at least once a week. I highly recommend at least once a week. If you don't rest once a week, there's going to be problems. On your rest day, you could do stretching or yoga, or a little bit of running. Just don't do big stress every single day for a week. Otherwise, you're gonna see less gain, even though you're working more, because you need to rest. Skip cardio, like going for a run, as I just said. Skipping cardio absolutely is a big problem, because your heart health is very important. If you have a healthy heart, you can circulate better blood and you feel better. You're going to end up lifting heavier and building better muscle. Cardio, there's lots of different types of cardio, like going on the treadmill and walking. Walking is a severely underrated cardio. When you're walking constantly, it's good for your legs and your heart and your health, especially mental health, and that's helping you to get a better heart. When you're doing cardio, for example, if you're staying above extreme difficulty, below that, so it's kind of a little bit difficult for a long time, that's pretty good for fat loss. You can gain good cardio by running as hard as you can, but just make sure to take it slow and build up over time. Don't run at 10, 12 kilometers in your first day running. Run a little bit, 2 kilometers, go slowly, build up the muscle. Just like for cardio, you have to have cardio muscles. You can't just run forever. You need the muscle to support you and the cardio, the breathing. You want to do a little bit of cardio. Try not to do cardio before you work out, because then you're very tired, because cardio is tiring for your heart and everything, and it helps build it. Like you build a muscle, you build your heart. It doesn't get bigger, but it gets better. And so you don't, like I go for a big run and I go straight to the gym. It's not that good for muscle growth because you're already so fatigued. Your body's so tired. Normally you can for example, work out and go run later. It's pretty good. Just make sure not to do too much cardio before you work out. After is better. The anabolic window is like gaining muscle. Anabolic window is everyone goes, drink a protein shake, for example, a myth. Drink it as soon as you're at the gym, or else you're not going to gain muscle. Eat all your protein now, as soon as you're working out, otherwise you won't gain good muscle, won't get to the muscle. It's not really how it works. The anabolic window is a few hours for pretty good, before or after, is good for gaining muscle. But it's important for your daily amount. You want to have a certain amount of protein daily. The best is 1 gram per pound of body weight. You want this protein daily so your body can use it throughout the day and whatever. Because building muscle takes time. It's not like instant. You don't go to the gym, have your protein shake, and boom, you've built that muscle for the day. It'll come within a day or 2 days because your body's recovering from the strain on the muscle. It takes time. And now a big one that you have to work out on is the testosterone exaggeration. Especially as a male, you're going to see testosterone exaggerations. Do this to have more tests, take these supplements, all these different things that don't really improve it that much. If you want to improve your testosterone, the biggest 3 things are, first of all, working out. It improves your testosterone a lot. Getting good sun was not one of the 3, but it's also important. Working out is 1. Secondly is getting good sleep. Make sure you're sleeping a lot. Your body can't function without sleep. Sleeping 8 good hours. And number 3 is diet. If you're eating healthy, you're eating well, you're going to feel better and your testosterone is going to go up. If you're doing a dirty bulk, for example, you're eating rubbish fast food, your testosterone is going to go down because you're doing badly. Make sure to take it slow, go in the right path, track your progress, and make sure to rest once in a while so that you can actually gain the muscle. The growth will take time. You'll get there. Over time, it'll feel better and better as you do. In the beginning, you might feel awkward to go to the gym. Later on, it's going to get better and better. It takes time, and then it gets more fun as it goes on. It does get better, trust me. If you want my schedule, I do a bit of a push-pull legs with abs, a bit of abs in there, and gym rings, which are great for home working out and general strength, and for your smaller muscles and your ligaments, really great and builds proper muscle. If you want my schedule, I'll do another video on it. So make sure to comment below for any more help you need, and stay well, stay safe, you've got this.